Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down the game between Crystal Palace and West Ham, and we're going to dive into the key moments, some tactical shifts, and what both teams need to do moving forward. So in the first half, we saw some scrappy build-up. There was like a decent amount of hoofball for about the first 20 minutes. It was actually getting so bad that both of the main playmakers were forced to drop back in Eze and Lucas Paqueta. And this was due to the lack of midfield control from both teams. Probably one of the better moments for Crystal Palace was when in the first half they were employing a lot of overloading ball side for their pressing strategy, and that led to probably their best chance of the half, where essentially um, they won the ball back from deep doing that, and Wharton was able to find Mateta, who was able to play in Edouard for a really good chance. That Edouard should have done a better job of finishing, but he didn't. And within that first half, West Ham had about 60% of the possession for, I want to say, like the first half an hour. And this really reflected in how poorly they were playing, because you could tell that they didn't really know what to do with the ball. They didn't really have like a specific passing structure that they wanted to go to. Um, and I'd probably say their best player by far in that first half was Kudus, who himself was way too isolated on the wings. You could even see that in the heat map. Um, and like Loki, he needs to be rescued because he has way too much talent to be doing it all on his own like that. Um, and then yeah, you can also see it here as well. But when you switch to the second half, um, Crystal Palace had to get on the ball more, as West Ham were more willing to concede possession. Like I know even here it doesn't necessarily show the 60% possession that I was talking about, because that was, like I said, only for about the first like half an hour, and in the second half, West Ham just went completely counterattacking, counterattack oriented in terms of their approach. So they had less possession in the second half by like 30%. And this also showed in their first goal, which was scored when after they brought on Juan Basaka for Kufal. And he essentially had made a run, and he had beaten a couple Crystal Palace players. And he saw Jared Bowen make an overlap um, around him, and the ball ended up being scraped in the box, and Suchek made a really nice late box run to score the goal. So, I mean, Juan Basaka, like he had a good cameo, so it will be interesting to see what he can do for them for the rest of the season. And then for the second goal, it was scored through Jared Bowen, who was showing shades of Mohamed Salah in terms of like his off-ball movement and his really deadly finishing, which is something I've always really liked about his game. Crystal Palace, I noticed they defended really poorly, especially on their right flank, sorry, in their left flank, sorry, in the second half. And I think the fact that Tyrese Mitchell was, so high up and to try to support Eze and Edward. I think that was the main reason for that. I don't think that this Riyadh center back, at least from this game, was good enough to kind of cover for Mitchell trying to go up forward. And I think that was something that I would have to look into. And I think part of that just plays into the fact that they don't have a proper winger to replace Elise at the moment, at least not from what I've seen. And Edward is honestly one of the worst players I've ever seen. I don't think I ever want to see him play in another Premier League game ever again. He was absolutely terrible today. Um, I definitely think that they're missing Olise, and obviously this plays a part in why their fullbacks have to go up so high. So from today's breakdown, my kind of overall thoughts was that West Ham improved when they had less possession, but that's not really going to be a sustainable game plan, especially if they want to become a team that's making European football on a regular basis. I think that Warren and Lerma need to offer more protection to the defense because the Crystal Palace's rest defense was just not good either. There was a lot of times where they would lose the ball and the center backs would be getting stretched out by like three West Ham players. So it honestly could have been a worse scoreline for them. And overall, yeah, the game, like I said, wasn't too amazing, but it was an interesting watch, from a tactical point of view. And it'll be interesting to see what both of these clubs are going to do going forward.